You are watching Matt's Minis, a Louis Lafleur program. This is a free episode available due to the graciousness of Mr. Lafleur himself. Please support the Patreon at www.patreon.com/LLPQ to watch all Matt's Minis episodes, including ones from past seasons, and other wonderful programs.
These are Matt's Mini Movies, presented by Mr. Louis. These are Matt's Mini Movies, presented by Mr. Louis.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Matt's Minis, presented by Mr. Louis Lafleur. I am Matt Johnson. This is for the week of April 16th, 2025. First movie of the week is called Star Trek Section 31 by Osunsanmi, 2025. The new little spin-off movie they made with Giorgio Philippa, Michelle Yeoh, which came and went and I didn't really hear anything about, which after watching was not surprising because it was very bad. I mean, Star Trek's like a famously hard thing to get right in a movie form anyway. And also the thing about Star Trek is so many people like it for so many different reasons. Let me tell you, with this new one, they basically just made like a Star Trek superhero movie. Wannabe ragtag group of Section 31, genius people, but they each have their own little superpower, basically. And they're just some mission that they have to do. Yeah, nobody really has any kind of depth of any kind. They're trying to do little like quips and stuff, which are just cringe as hell. Which is unfortunate because the Sam Richardson, the guy that's friends with Tim Robinson, is in it, and normally he's very funny. Nothing could possibly have saved this movie with what was planned. I mean, I'm really at the point where I don't need to watch any more new Star Trek ever again, so I don't know why I did it, but whatever. Always fine to reinforce that. For my Matt's Minis movie mobiles in the movies, so of course with this being Star Trek, there's spaceships, and that's pretty much it. Actually they don't even have the infamous spaceship reveal like I showed in one of my old Matt's Minis in the original Star Trek movie, and which they've done many times, because this isn't about a ship, you know what I mean? Like Philippa is like in a bar that's like Star Wars-esque. This is basically like a wannabe Star Wars superhero movie, which is probably what all the new Star Trek shit feels like anyway. Star Wars shit feels like anyway. So I'm sure it's not too different from that, honestly. So yeah, none of the spaceships I would say really stood out or anything. I'd just gonna give this like a 2, which is probably harsh, but I don't care.
He's headed to the lounge. Man, they're moving fast.
Mally's coming to you.
Yikes.
No, it's okay.
Mel, you got him?
Got him.
That was Star Trek Section 31. Next movie of the week is called The Philadelphia Story by G. Cukor, 1940. Yes, an nice old flick with Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn and Jimmy Stewart. Quite a cast, obviously. You look at the reviews of this and it's just like, oh look, it's got Cary Grant, Jimmy Stewart, and Katharine Hepburn. How could this be bad? And of course, I mean, they're right, but it's like, come on. This isn't the best George Cukor movie, the best of any of these actors' movies. It's another one that I've talked about in Matt's Minis, one of these movies that goes down this cliched route of the rich woman who basically is just like a huge bitch and has to learn how to be a real person or whatever. But yeah, of course, I mean, it's fast paced and funny, and I do love all these people, so it's fun to watch for that. But story wise, it's kind of annoying because you just know exactly what's going to happen and nothing new here, interesting in any way. For my Matt's Minis moving mobiles in the movies, so yeah, of course there were a couple of old cars. There wasn't any really scene with them that stood out or anything. There was like one where the car is parked and they're leaving this like party, and Katharine Hepburn's like fully asleep, 0 miles per hour, top speed, of course. But yeah, there's a couple old Cadillacs and old Packards that were sweet looking, and I think people getting dropped off or whatever. That's why the max speed we got here, like a couple miles an hour. So it's cool and all for that, but it's like, yeah, there was nothing in the movie with it. I'll probably give this like a 2.5 on the Mobile rating.
And the torso even more so Lydia.
What is this?
Lydia, that encyclopedia.
Idiot
Lydia, the queen of tattoos. On her back is the battle of Waterloo. Beside it, the wreck of the Hesperus too. And proudly above waves the red, white, and blue. You can learn a lot from Lydia.
Okay, that was the Philadelphia Story. Next movie of the week is called Blue Sunshine by J. Lieberman, 1977. Funny little movie. I thought it was going to be more like horror slashery or something like that. I guess I didn't really know what I was getting into. But it reminded me a lot of Dead Zone, movie I recently watched. I think I talked about. Because there's all this centered around this politician who's like not a good guy or whatever. Less about his what he's going to be doing in his politics, but more just like it's like a skeletons in the closet type of movie, because there's this like acid that's making people go crazy and start killing people, and also for some reason it's making them go bald, and that's like the key feature. Yeah, this movie's just very slow and extremely stupid, so I didn't love it, but there's a couple of funny things. It does have a cool opening because you're just like in this 70s party hangout, and it's like just a super weird party. And this guy just gets up and just starts singing a song. A minute later, he like starts losing his hair, and then comes back and murders people. But then from there, it's like it wants to become this like investigative thing to what's going on, But it's just not in any kind of fun way. And I guess it was also supposed to be this like, satire about the people freaking out about drugs or whatever, the war on drugs type of deal, like LSD now is killing people or making people go crazy and kill each other. For my Matt's Minis moving mobiles in the movies, I'm that first guy that I mentioned. He does get killed by a mobile, which happens to be a big old semi truck, and I guess he's like pushed into it in front of it by the like main character guy. Our main dude is driving around in a Bronco pretty often. That looks pretty cool. 70s Bronco. Yeah, and at one point they're being chased by some cops, pulling off-roading, doing some little off-roading. There was one nice little truck scene that I think I'll put in here as my little clip. Pretty good on the Mobile is actually. I think I'll give it a 6 on my Mobile rating.
Got you with at the rally.
Jerry, we're just friends.
Goddamn trucks!
Okay, that was Blue Sunshine. Next movie of the week is called The Serpent and the Rainbow by W. Craven, 1988. This was pretty awesome, based on true story, look into the Haitian magic stuff, which is pretty sick, and it tells you that in the beginning, and then it goes like totally bonkers off the rail by the end, which is, I love when people do that in movies, or like some found footage movie where it's like obviously totally not found footage. Like feels like similar in this vibe. Like you think you're getting almost like documentary-esque stuff, but it's like writings of the guy who went to Harvard, and he was like an anthropologist, but it's like, yeah, way out there, obviously. Yeah, the whole thing is about these like Haitian zombies, as they call them, because they basically like have some kind of toxin that they introduce to people that puts them in this catatonic state that looks like they're dead. Like they have no pulse and no anything, and then they're getting buried, and then they're coming back to life, or they're not coming back to life, but they're wake up and come out of the grave. So there's a couple of people that are like that, but then it gets like 10 times more ridiculous than that by the end, which was a lot of fun. It was, yeah, there's a little bit of like conspiracy angle, and there's all this politics in Haiti too, that the guys, what's his name, Bill Pullman is the main character, and he's just getting involved with, and it's like increasingly looking like he's about to get murdered at any point, but he is still trying to get in there, figure out what's going on, which is, he's very brave. And there is even a little cock and ball torture, really just ball torture, because he does get a spike stabbed right through his nutsack, which is pretty sick. They don't show it in that detail or anything, so you don't have to go running to it, but it rocked. For my Matt's Minis moving mobiles in the movies, yeah, we had a couple little boats. Early on, there's a little boat transferring some coffin. It's pretty cool. Some chopper. Yeah, Pullman lands in there's an opening where he's in the Amazon basin, and that's like what he got famous from, I guess. He was able to traverse some parts of the Amazon by himself on foot. But he lands in this chopper, and the guy who drove him there is hanging out, and then he goes back and finds him, and he's dead. So, can't use the chopper to get back out. Yeah, pretty cool opening, actually. They are driving a lot of sweet little trucks around. Like, they have there's a couple sweet Isuzus. There's even, like, a Land Rover that I think he's driving around a little bit. Yeah, definitely a couple instances of trucks with, like, 50 people hanging on the bed, getting transported around. So, yeah, some cool mobiles. I think I'll probably give this a 5 on my mobile rating.
You see, even in America, they know me. They come for my work.
You're an idiot.
My pal does work. Maybe I cast a spell on you.
Okay, that was The Serpent and the Rainbow. Next movie of the week is called The Satan Bug by J. Sturges, 1965. I guess you can see why I wanted to watch this movie, The Satan Bug. Some satanic stuff. Very much not a satanic movie in any way, but it's like some scientists have developed this disease that can go airborne and kill basically the whole planet within like days or something like that, and they call it the Satan Bug. But yeah, it's also one of these yarn unraveling conspiracy movies, which I love to watch. They were developing other diseases, I guess, that can wipe people out, and one of them gets blown off in Florida, I think, and kills a bunch of people, and they show it through this like black and white 16 millimeter footage that they like to say multiple times. And it's just like it's just going over highways, and there's just like buses with a bunch of people that got out and are just laying on the ground dead, which is pretty badass. There wasn't like blood or anything, because they're just dying from some disease or whatever. Yeah, I think it was literally botulism that they were all getting and dying instantly from. So yeah, it's like someone has stolen the botulism and the Satan bug from this secret base that nobody's supposed to know about. So it's obviously some kind of inside job. But it's funny because it's like, who's gonna possibly use the Satan bug, because they get nothing out of it basically, because every person in the world would die, including themselves. But there's some little twists. There's some big old stuff happening. Like this secret base is in Nevada, but the big ending is it's in LA, and they're like saying that they planted a bomb at Dodger Stadium. And they get like 50 cops to go around Dodger Stadium, and they obviously got in there and filmed it all there. All these cops just roaming through the stands and stuff, and they just spent like way too much time on it, probably just because they, were so stoked they got access to Dodger Stadium for this. But it's pretty cool. The guy that actually finds the bomb is because he is reaching down to grab a beer from one of the fridges, and it's like tucked away next to the fridge or something like that. Okay, for my Matt's Minis movie mobiles in the movies. So of course there's the helicopter flying them around, because they were going from Nevada to LA. Kind of chase stuff going on. There's another cool little car swapping scene, which was actually into this sweet looking Plymouth Savoy. Yeah, the one other thing I remember was that there were some cops driving around in Harleys and chasing people. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, actually this was pretty sweet. I think I would probably give it a 6.5 on my mobile rating.
I don't know. Take that turn.
Okay, that was The Satan Bug. Next movie of the week is called Battlefield Earth by R. Christian 2000. Yes, I watched the infamous Scientology movie that's made with tens of millions of dollars and looks like a C movie at best, with John Travolta and Forrest Whitaker as aliens, which was so funny when they're introduced, because they show you some other of these aliens, the Cyclos. The whole idea of the aliens is so funny, because they're called Cyclos, and then there's a lot of these other aliens that are called Clarists or something, and it's supposed to be like psychiatrists, because they're like so evil psychiatrists, because L. Ron Hubbard just hated psychiatrists. But in this, I think there's just Cyclos, but they show some of the Cyclos and they have like totally fucked faces and stuff, but then they have this, their dreads and wild shit, and they're really tall. And then they show John Travolta and Forrest Whitaker, and they have like pretty normal looking faces, but they have like green eyes, and they have the dreads stuff, and they're really tall, but you're like, okay, they're like half Cyclo or something, but No, they're just full cyclo. They just don't want to look all fucked up because they're famous movie stars, you know. Pretty fun movie. It's like every single shot is a Dutch angle for some reason, and they have these ridiculous transitions where it's like one of these, like a door opening into something else transition, but with like faded edges. And yeah, the movie itself is totally ludicrous. One thing that was cracking me up was one of the guys. So the cyclos they built this huge dome that's like a greenhouse, you know, because they can't breathe earth air and they don't want to wear their little nose things all the time. And one he wants to blow it up to get them off our planet. And he keeps saying he's gonna blow the dome. The phrase "blow the dome" was really getting me. Okay, for my Matt's Minis movie mobiles in the movies. So this is set in the year 3000. There's no cars. No cars in any way. The only mobiles are some ships that they're flying around, which are kind of cool, I guess. I don't know. They look like Boba Fett's spaceship in Star Wars, pretty much. And that's it. That's the only mobiles, so I think I'll give it a 2.
What if we were to train them how to mine?
Man-animals operating machinery. Have you blown a head gasket? I will be the laughing stock of the universe.
Okay, that was Battlefield Earth. Next movie of the week is called Employee of the Month by M. Rouse, 2004. This is one with Matt Dillon and Steve Zahn. Not the stupid Dane Cook, Dax Shepard thing, which I have seen and never need to watch again with Jessica Simpson. But let me tell you, this was not much better. Steve Zahn is just like a horrible incel guy the whole time. And this is one of those movies where it has a huge twist at the last like 20 minutes. But for the first like hour and a half, you're watching and you're just like, this is the fucking worst shit I've ever seen. And I never want to hear any of these people talk or anything ever again. So then by the time the twist comes, you're just like, okay. Steve Zahn also gets Matt Dillon, a prostitute who happens to be Pam from The Office, and she's like asking if he wants to fuck her or jerk off on her tits and stuff, and it's just interesting hearing Pam from The Office talking like this. For all my epic bacon heads that love The Office, you'd like that. But yeah, just a very stupid movie about a goofy Matt Dillon. So for my Matt's Minis moving mobiles in the movies, there's one parked mobile I really remember because it was like this van that had a bunch of dead bodies, and Steve Zahn is pretending to be a coroner going through and stealing all their shit in the back of it. They do a little heist with another van, I think. I can't remember exactly, but they're getting into the back of that, stealing some stuff from a bank. And then also one of the women drives a Volkswagen Passat, and it's kind of a big deal towards the end. This is also one of those movies with 10 endings, and like half of those are in the credits. You're getting credits on one side, and then the other side is more endings. And you're just like, I thought it was going to be like outtakes or something, like deleted scenes at least or something, but it's like, no, they're just still ending. Like, this is still happening. It's ongoing. I think I'll give it a 3 on the mobile rating.
10-4. Hey. Woo! Oh, that's okay. I'm not driving. And it's not like I'm going to kill someone, you know?
Roger that. Do what you have to do what you want to.
Okay, that was Employee of the Month. Next movie, which is the last movie of the week, is called Sinners by R. Coogler, 2025. So yes, I went to the theater, watched the new hot shit Sinners, everybody's favorite new movie. If you haven't heard of this, then you probably don't care about movies at all, because every person has been talking about it, even non-movie watchers. It's one of those that's breaking records for a horror movie, which is, in my opinion, that's just a bad thing. Like, if all audience people or goers are loving a horror movie, then that means it's not going to be a good horror movie. Like, it ain't pushing buttons. A crowd pleaser for a horror movie? Like, come on. But it was okay. This one has a lot of ideas. It takes some big swings, let's say. Yeah, it's really heavy on the music stuff. I don't want to spoil anything because everybody's trying to watch this movie, so. Yeah, Michael B. Jordan's pretty good. I guess he's really hot, so if you like him for that, he's in here twice. It's also a kind of horny movie, although people are saying it's the horniest movie of all time, which it isn't, but it is a little horny. Hornier than Nosferatu, which was getting that claim last, which was a totally not horny movie. But yeah, just a good time in the movies, I guess. I hated the ending, I'll just say, for those of you that have seen it. For my Matt's Minis moving mobiles in the movies, So this is set in the 30s. So they got some old ass cars. There's like an old truck too, and then old looking cars. I don't know what the hell type of cars they are. Couldn't tell you. But they're cool. They drive them around, but most of it takes place in just like this one nightclub. So the car stuff is just a little bit before that. There's a little bit of scenes with one people trying to steal stuff out the back of the truck and getting in trouble for it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Nothing too crazy. So I think I'll give it a 3 on my Mobile rating. Lots of low ratings this week, sorry. So I need to watch some better Mobile movies. What can I say?
They play a fair amount of blues, too. See, white folks say they like the blues just fine. They just don't like the people who make it. And Peckerwoods was nodding their heads, stomping their feet. Some of them was almost on the rhythms. And the rest, we would change it up, confuse them.
That's my Matt's Minis for the week. Signing off.